So I was introducing Ahmed Salisu Ahmed, who is a multimedia journalist and trainer, and who is currently working with Deutsche Welle. He is video content manager for DW Africa, which consists of DW Hausa, Swahili, Portuguese, Afrik, Amharic, and English for Africa. And he has been practicing journalism for well over 20 years. So he is veteran in journalism, which is why we are bringing him, because he's going to take us through the rubrics of writing for social media, and inevitably social media is now part of journalism and part of the media. So I don't want to bore you with so much talk. I will now hand over the proverbial mic to Malam Ahmed Salisu, who is going to make his presentation.
That's right, Mala Idris, and thank you very much um, for the introduction. And point of correction, I'm not a Malam, I'm an Almaziri.
Yeah,
That's
you're
one of them.
always humble. Okay, so I will mute myself, hide my video, and hand over everything to you now.
Okay, then. Thank you very much for your time once again. And we're going to take a look at writing for social media, because this is extremely important for any individual using social media. I call it a necessary evil, to be very honest, not just for us journalists, but for everybody that has a smartphone, because this is one tool that we all use, to do quite a number of things, from following news and current affairs, from business and what have you. So there's that very important thing that one needs to do, honestly, if you want to write for social media, and you want, first and foremost, the attention, and then secondly, doing your things according to the etiquettes of social media. And of course, at the end of the day, the most important thing is having your content consumed by the people you are, addressing this content to. So let's start with the first thing, which is one of the most important, and it is research. By research, I mean you have to know your audience first and foremost, because if you don't know your audience, you will not be able, to feed them the kind of content that you want to feed out. It is important to know the age group of the individuals you are addressing. Let me give you a classical example. Let's assume you are into football, and then most of the people that are following you on your platform, it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be Instagram, or whatever, are, somewhere around the age of 50, 60. Probably you have an age and followership. If you take football, that might not be interesting to this kind of individual. There are quite a number of topics, that you need to fit that kind of group of individuals, or probably you have a young followership, and then you are bringing in topics, that are not related, or the youth cannot relate with. If you do that, it's a huge flop, honestly. You have to take a look at your followership, try as much as you can to fit them with the kind of content, that they will appreciate. So the next thing to do while doing this research is to know the best platform to engage them. I know we cannot be all over the place, even though a lot of people, are all over these platforms, be it Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and what have you. But then there is no that thing that people call one size fits all. What might be consumed on social media to people between the ages of 25 and maybe 40 might not be the same thing that might be consumed on either Instagram or Twitter. So you have to look at the platform itself and then know, how to engage them. If you tilt more towards Facebook, or you're stronger on Instagram, then take a look at the individual and know the kind of content you want to give them. If you take Instagram, for instance, this is a picture and video based platform. So it doesn't make sense for an individual, to be writing long texts or long teasers on Instagram. People will not consume. What they are after is what you put on your story, the kind of reels you dole out, the kind of picture galleries you do there. So you see where the issue is. And if you turn to Twitter, it might not work for you if you say, okay, probably a photographer, or I love nature, I go out, snapping pictures, and then I would like to use Twitter to do that. That is not the best thing to do, to be very honest, because Twitter is a text-based platform. And the same thing for Facebook, so each and every platform has its own distinct character. And if you follow that, you will not have any issue. And then the next thing you need to know is you have to know the time to feed them your content, because there is this peak time that we call on social media. You can't just wake up in the morning, no, morning is not even a good example. In the afternoon, we all know that we are either in school, or we are at work, or we are in our places of businesses. A lot of people are not using social media between the hours of 12 and 3 p.m. So this isn't a very good time, honestly, to feed your followers with your content. Now, the best time to do that is, early in the morning, between the hours of 5:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock. This is a very, very good time to feed your content, because people are just waking up from sleep. They are back from the mosque. A lot of us even, pick our phones and go through our timelines before we even um, get out of our beds and what have you. And then another very good time to do that is in the evening, somewhere around 5:36, because by then people have already closed from work. Some of them are still in the market, trying to wrap up, but the day has already ended. And some are even, in buses and taxis on their way home. People use their mobile phones a lot at that material time. And then another time to feed your content, which I call the golden hour, is between the hours of 8 p.m. until midnight, because by then almost everything is done. We've already said our Isha prayers, we've had our dinner, people are in Majalisa, others are at home, people are relaxed. There isn't anything, serious happening at that material time. So people really consume content on social media around that material time. So I don't know, is there any question, or should we proceed to the next slide?
Yeah, I think we can go through the slides, and then if people have questions, they can ask maybe at the end.
Okay, then let's do that.
Yes.
Okay, then I'll take the next slide, which is content. And this is what we put on our social media platforms. Now, it is very important for you to know the kind of stories that you put on the social media platforms. You don't just take any story and put it out there. It has to be something that would interest your followers. If your followers do not have interest in that kind of content, trust me, it's not going to work. You'll just put out the content, and then probably one or two likes, and then one or two comments, which of course is not the ideal thing. Probably you might have between 7 and 10,000 followers, or less than that, or even more than that, and you end up with one or two followers. I think that doesn't make sense, and I'll call that counterproductive. So you have to really know the kind of stories that interest people. And then the next thing is you have to be consistent. Consistency is the key as far as social media engagement is concerned. If you are consistent, people will surely trust you, and they will really come to your platform to consume your content. Let's assume you are the kind of individual that is into um, football, and people know that each and every week you do some sort of analysis on either Bundesliga or English Premier League or whatever kind of league, and you keep on doing that, back to back. So you will be the go-to person because you are consistent. And one thing that goes along with consistency is embracing breaking stories, especially if you are the type of individual that is into telling stories or reporting about events happening around us. Breaking news, it really helps your page to grow. It really helps people to, trust you, because maybe you might be a journalist, or, you might be somebody like Dr. Idris, who loves news and is always up to date. So if you do that, people will trust you, and people will surely come to your platform to consume the content you put in. And then another thing is trending topics. You can never avoid this. If you want to be successful on social media, you have to embrace trending topics. and not just trending topics, but you can write on trending topics, um, to be successful. Let me give you an example. The current um, operations that are being done in Kano by the Hisbah board is a trending topic because this is a developing story. Things are still happening. They still are going out to make arrests. I saw the commander this afternoon meeting with TikTokers. So you can write on this kind of stories, to have more than enough content. Let's assume everybody has reported about the meeting he had with TikTokers this afternoon. It's no longer a story. Of course, when it was happening, it was trending. People are talking about it. And then after a couple of hours or a day or two, it won't be a trending topic, so to say. But you as an individual can still write on that topic. Look at a different angle, and report things as they are. Because I heard him talking to them to really do the needful and stop doing whatever is not accepted Islamically, on that platform. If you are smart enough, you will just leave the main topic and then, scout or just go into TikTok. Check out, one, two, three, four, five, maybe prominent accounts there that have a lot of followers and see the kind of, things they are doing. Is there any change? Yes. Is there no change? Yeah, that's another thing. You can just come back and then create a content and put, after the meeting with the director general of Hisbah board, there was a radical change on TikTok because most of the people that are doing things that are unacceptable Islamically or unacceptable as the laws in Kano, I have changed, they've changed for good, or these guys have escalated whatever they are doing. There is, no sign of them changing and stuff like that. This is how you ride on trending topics, um, to generate your content and, of course, to keep topic like this afloat. Then another very important thing is language. You have to use a language that agrees with your target audience. If you are the type of individual that writes a lot and, your target audience are probably between the ages of, 25 and 40, these people are young. So you have to really, come down to their level, talk to them in the tone, in the language they understand. If you do that, you won't have any problem. If you try, to talk to them as if you're talking to their parents or grandparents, then definitely you will flop. Nobody is going to really waste their time reading your Shakespearean English. You have to really, come down to their level and talk to them in that tone. And then you have to pay attention to grammar. This is very important. And the importance of grammar cannot be overemphasized. Dr. Idris is here, he knows that. And then it's not just English grammar, but even Hausa. If you pay attention to grammar, you write in a very good language, people will really have respect for you and people will really rush to your page, to read your content without any issue. And then another thing is style of writing. A lot of us employ, very difficult style of writing and, trying to impress people. But this doesn't help, to be very honest. If you employ a very simple style of writing, then people would surely consume your content because no 2 days are ever the same. If probably your style of writing that is, something really strong, so to say, and I appreciate that, another individual might not appreciate that. So you have to create this balance where, you serve almost everybody. You cannot satisfy everybody, but then you have to create this balance, so to say, to try as much as you can to feed everybody what they would at least appreciate. And then the next thing is you have to keep your things short and simple. A lot of us write on social media and people write really lengthy, articles or do lengthy analysis and what have you. That I think is not the ideal thing for two reasons. One, we don't have the time, honestly, to sit down and read a chapter, And then secondly, we are very, very impatient. And, I don't blame us, honestly speaking, because we have quite a number of things doing. And we go through our timelines in between either our work or our studies or what have you. So the shorter the text, especially on Facebook and Twitter, the better for you. That's why, part of this is you have to use short sentences, short paragraphs. If you do that, people will surely read your content. But the minute I open your text comes my way, on the timeline, and I've seen like 10, 20 paragraphs. No, no. If I want to do that, I'll just pick a newspaper or a magazine to read. And this is social media, so you have to be as short and as precise as possible. And then another thing you have to keep in mind, when you're writing, is you have to be as clear as possible and make sure that the 5 Ws and H are out. This is especially targeted to the to my colleagues, journalists, because the 5 Ws, that is what, where, when, and how. If these things are not, there, then you can consider your effort futile. I wouldn't want to say that, but this is the truth. But this concerns mostly the journalists that are working as community managers or as social media editors. And then there is the use of image, music, or videos. If you are the type of individual that uses, videos or graphs or photos in your stories, especially on Facebook, then you have to make sure that the kind of photo or a graph or a video that you use matches your story. Let me give you an example. Let's assume I'm writing about Hisba. And then I take a photo that is totally unrelated to that story, maybe a map of Kano. Of course, I'm talking about Hisba, I'm talking about Kano, but then I think the best photo to use is either a photo with a signboard of the Hisba or the building where Hisba is clearly written, or you use the photo of the commandant of the board, that is Amin Idora, because he's a household name. Everybody knows this individual. So if you're talking about that, and then you put a matching photo, then that would be the best thing to do. And then you don't just use a photo; you have to go for a qualitative image. There are pictures that you'd see that they are clearly blurred, and especially if you are using a cell phone to do that, and you download a photo from a platform where that platform downloaded it from another, and on, the quality reduces. So make sure you go for a very, very qualitative image, because some people are reading whatever you're putting out on their desktops, which of course have bigger screens, and if care is not taken, the image is going to be blurred, and that is definitely going to be an ISO for others. And then the most important thing about using either pictures or videos or whatever, you have to acknowledge for the source of your photos. This is very important, because this might put you into some problems if you do not acknowledge the source. It's very, very important. Let's assume we pick up a picture from Dr. Idris's Instagram or Twitter handle, and you'd like to use it, on a content that you put on Facebook. It's pretty easy. Put out the sign of a camera and then give him the credit. Because if you don't do that and he sees that, and he knows that picture or video or graph or whatever is his own, and by his own I mean it's 100% his, then he might report you to Meta, and then Meta will really downgrade your page, and they might even take down the post completely, which will really have a negative impact on your page. And then the next thing, which is the most important, is community management. We all, put out content, and then when we put that content out, we just forget about it, or we just come back and see how many people clicked on that particular content, how many people liked our content, or how many people responded to that. It is really important, honestly, if you put out your content, to always ask a thought-provoking question at the end of it, because this is one thing that would really trigger people to respond to whatever you've written. And if you do that, the next thing to do is you have to engage your audience, because if you write something and then just dump it out there for people to comment and like without you reciprocating, it would leave you with a lot of work to do, honestly speaking. You might end up, not seeing a lot of comments, which of course is counterproductive. Now, the best thing to do is you cannot, or you might not have the time to respond to each and every comment. Pick the most reasonable ones amongst them and respond to them by either, replying or ask for clarification or something like that. And the others that you think, only need a like, then put out the like, and yeah, ensure that each and every comment, if you have the time, of course, receive at least, a like, so that people would know that you are following whatever they are writing and you are appreciating what they are doing. This builds a lot of trust between you and your followers. And then last but not the least is the use of hashtags, mentions, cross promotion, and of course promotion if you have the means to do that. Now, hashtags work very well for platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, but they do not work with Facebook. So you have to really know that. And then mentions, of course, work for almost all the platforms. And then there's the issue of cross posting, which is very, very important. Let's assume you have an Instagram account and you have a TikTok account, and then the TikTok account is more successful than the Instagram account, and you want to really grow your Instagram account. So if you post your content on Instagram, this is something, you can use the other platform to cross post whatever you have on the other channel. Now, this is you taking the link, or a better example would be probably you have a YouTube page, and then you have a Facebook where you have a lot of followers, and you put out at least one video or two every week, and the success rate is very low. Now, the best thing to do is to cross post it. And how do you do that? You do a snippet, half a minute, 15, 20 seconds should be fine. Get a cliffhanger at the tail end and then put it out, and then put the link and tell people to follow your your YouTube page to watch it. You can equally put the link out there for people to click, and then this link will take them to the Instagram page. This helps a lot. It helps. And then the next thing is promotion. If you have the money, we all know this works very well, but then it is very expensive, especially if you're not using your page to earn money. So that's it about writing for social media. Thanks for listening.
Well, thank you very much, Ahmed Salisu. It's really educating and highly enlightening. And I believe those who also listen will bear me witness that there is a lot of useful information to get from your presentation. So yes, thank you very much. I will quickly run through some of the things that Malam Ahmed Salisu has delved into in his presentation. So the first is research, which is very important and very key in terms of knowing your audience, especially the demography, that's their age group. And by that, you should be able to know what to post, and then knowing the best platform to post what you want to post is also important, as well as the time that you should post. So the time here means when people are likely to be online and checking their social media accounts to see what's happening. The second thing is content, which is more or less knowing the stories that interest the people, and then be consistent and try to always keep the tabs with the breaking news or breaking stories, and make sure that people will be looking forward to finding out how far from you, and also, of course, the trending topics that are going on. The third thing is language. He spoke about language, and by language, it doesn't mean only English, but any language you write in, you should try to write in a very uh, simplistic but articulate way, so that people can quickly grasp what you want to say, but also will be captivated by your language. And also, you should keep it simple. So keep it short and simple. That is the acronym for the KISS. So try to avoid lengthy stories. I remember one instance. I know there was a very fine writer on Facebook, but who used to write lengthy, and we kept on drumming on him, especially Hussein and I, and he eventually stopped writing lengthy posts, and I'm sure that has been very helpful. So use keep it short and simple is also very important. And also the use of image, music, and video. Make sure that they are yours. If they are not yours, you acknowledge where you get them, and also try to make sure that the quality is high, and also the knowledge of the source and the right to use. So, because some people, when you use their content, if they report you, like Ahmed Salisu said, they can even block, some of these companies can even block your account, not even downgrading it. And also community management in terms of asking questions and engaging your audience, and also crisis management, which I spoke about last week. Try to make sure that whenever your content is creating something unnecessary, you try to manage that. And yes, then the issue of using hashtags, the mentions, and also cross-posting. Like I would always say, don't want to bore you with so much talk. I think for those who have listened to his presentation, I believe you have learned a great deal of information. You have gotten a great deal of information to digest. So while I allow you to digest this information, I think it is time to open the floor for any questions that you might have. Zakar Ibrahim is raising his hand. So Zakar, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this wonderful presentation, sir. We really appreciate it. My question goes like this. Unlike Twitter, Facebook doesn't provide space for knowing the trending topics. So how do one identify trending topics on Twitter? Or sorry, on Facebook?
Well, you are not clearly audible, but I don't know if Malawat has gotten the question.
Yes, I got him. And this
Okay.
is deliberate, to be very honest, because it's not just Facebook, well, Instagram is Meta, and then, they don't provide you with this kind of tool, but there's what we call trends map that you can use to know the kind of trending issues around you or across the globe. And there is Story Clash, which equally gives you the opportunity to see what other people are posting and how these things are doing very well. So you don't have to rely honestly on the platform itself to give you that. I think we'll find time and talk about this trends map and Story Clash and other things, that you can use as a social media, editor or as a content producer, to know what is happening around you and to know how to tackle them.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So any additional question? Okay, so Okay, I can see some messages from people, especially Aboga Saidu is saying precise and condensed information. Thank you, Malam Ahmed Salisu. Thank you, our great journalists from Yakubu Sani Yakubu. Muhammad Amin MD says, thank you, sir. It's educating. And Muntaga Abdulhadi Dawo says, thank you, Malam Salisu, and happy DW 60th anniversary. Yes, and also Munirat Muhammad Bashir saying thank you for a very insightful class. So yes, we have Malam Abubakar Saidu. So Malam Abubakar Saidu, you have already unmuted yourself, so you can ask your question, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Malam Ahmed.
He was
Is it just me or we've lost him?
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Okay, okay.
Yes, so it's unfortunate. He has been with us since the beginning.
Certainly,
Now...
I think he's one of the first individuals that joined.
Exactly. Now that
Yeah, he
he's
indicated
about
that
to...
he's having issues with his network. So I think
So
maybe if you can write it in the chat box, then we can read it out to everyone to... Yeah, or everyone can see that, and then we can respond to it accordingly.
Yes. So if you have any question, in case if your network is not that good, you can write the question in the chat.
But I've seen a question, and I think this is directed at you, Idris. There's Munirat Muhammad that is saying, can we ask outside of today's class? So this is for you to decide.
Okay, let me take the risk and say yes. So Munirat, if you are still there.
Yes, I am, sir. Thank you very much for taking the risk. I'm grateful.
All right.
So, my question is like social media management requires you to use tools that are very much expensive to subscribe to. So I'm asking if there are at least tools that beginners like us could afford to do the social media management or thereabout. To be glad to know this, sir. Thank you very much. That's the question.
Yeah, so the question is both for us, but I will attempt to answer. If Mala Ahmed has something to add, he can add. So basically, you
Go
can
ahead,
look
Mala.
at it. You can look at it two ways. First of all, social media management is a full-time job that you can take. So if you take it as a full-time job, then you can invest. And by investment, I mean you can source for money, buy these tools, educate yourself, and use them. And inshallah, it will be a rewarding experience. And also, there are tools that are free, although they don't give you the flexibility that the ones you subscribe to will give you, but they will give you the basic know-how on how to use them, and you can start from that. And another thing is that there is usually a trial period for each tool. So they give you a period within which you can use that tool and then see if you master it, and if you find it useful, then you can think of purchasing it. But what I will emphasize, Munirat, is that it's really rewarding. Sometimes when you think of the money you spend, you tend to be discouraged. However, when you look beyond that expenditure or that spending, then I promise you it's going to be rewarding. I want to give you an example. I subscribed to a forum about 2 years ago, and I paid $20 to subscribe to that website. And it is a website that people with particular skills would be scouted on this website. So I even forgot that I have subscribed to that. $20 was a lot of money, but I just sacrificed it. I subscribed. And then one person contacted me through that platform, which I registered for only $20. And they gave me work that is way more than that $20. So you can see, so you can look at it from that perspective as an investment, and inshallah, you will make your profit. So I don't know if Mala has something to add here.
Mal Idris, you've basically said it all, but in my own case, I will ask if she's talking about either the hardware or the software, because you need both to survive as a content creator. So if you're talking about the hardware, you need to get a very good microphone, and there are microphones and there are microphones. You could get cheap ones that you can use. You can even use your earpiece. The important thing is you have to know how to use it properly, without having any issues with it, especially distractions from the wind or whatever you are wearing and stuff like that. And there are tripods, with this ring lights that are very cheap that you can buy and start with. And if you're talking about software, I think the most important thing currently for content creator is a video editing software, and of course a picture editor where you can edit your pictures, where you can do thumbnails and stuff like that. And talking about this, there's CapCut. This is absolutely free on both iOS and Android. The only issue with CapCut is at the tail end, they usually put their watermark, which of course you can always, bypass that. And you've not committed any crime, honestly. The way it works is you put in everything, edit your videos on CapCut on the software, finish everything, and then it gives you the chance to either upload on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever platform. Don't do that, because it still gives you the chance to download that particular content that you've edited to your phone. So if you download it, you can just go back to that thing that is in your gallery, and then you edit out that watermark of CapCut, which is at the tail end of the video. And it's not going to affect your video because it's only 1 or 2 frames that is there. So you see, you don't have to subscribe to things like Filmic Pro or Premiere Rush or all these very expensive softwares to use. All you need is CapCut and you're fine. And where I'm emphasizing on CapCut is this is a story for another day. Most of these platforms now push videos that are vertical way better than videos that are 16:9. We will talk about that at later date when we have time. And then there is equally Canva. There's the free version. You can always use Canva to, edit your pictures, to do your thumbnails and everything. And as far as I know, I subscribe to the premium version, but when I was using the free version, honestly speaking, there's almost, nothing that you can't do with the free version, especially if you're a starter. So yes, you can start from a very modest stage, and then when you grow wings, so to say, you can go for the expensive ones or invest money into it, because it's really important, like Idris has indicated, investing your money on something that would bring returns. And if you get to that stage, you would understand what I mean about that.
Yes. Thank you very much. Abdullah Umar, I'm coming to you, but we have a question here. He says, thank you, sir. My question is that can secondaries, I think he's talking about secondary school, students also be social media manager? Because I think it's more of writing. If yes, please advise based on that. So over to you.
Of course, there's no barrier. You can always be a content creator, even if you are a 1-year-old. I mean, so long as you can speak, you can operate these things, you can be a content creator. But then the most important thing is know where you are coming from and know where you are heading to. It's not just about you picking up your cell phone or your iPad or your tablet and just start creating content and then push it out. Try as much as you can to know what exactly you want to do, and then know what exactly you want to feed your audience with. If you know these 2 things, then you are fine. You don't have to have a university degree or be a PhD for you to be a content creator.
Yes, that's very excellent. Well, we have another one from Umar Salegwani, which I will not ignore. He says, Salaam alaikum. This is very good initiative, and I say well done to you all. I wish to share this website that contains a lot of free tools for content creation, and I believe will help many who cannot afford subscription-based services. Thank you so much, Mala Umar Salagoni. Mala Umar Salagoni is also a veteran in this area. So thank you so much. So Munirat, you can copy the link, or you can join the link and see what you can get from there. Abla Umar, you have 1 minute to ask your question or make your comment. I know you're also an emerging journalist, so it's good to have a conversation with Mala Ahmed Salisu. Abla Umar, can you mute yourself?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are now.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor, for giving me this opportunity and for creating this kind of initiative. It's a very good one. Mine is a question related to copyright issue, because during the presentation, the presenter mentioned that if, for example, now someone's use somebody's content without crediting him, so that person can actually report him to that social media platform, and he may be, let's say, penalized based on that action he did. So in an event whereby I am the owner of that particular, let's say, content, and someone else now took it and used it, how can I, for example, report that person to that social media platform? I don't know if I'm clear.
Yeah,
No, you're clear.
You're
You're clear, honestly. You're clear. Plagiarism happens almost everywhere. And it's even worse on social media these days, because people just pick a content and put it out. And some people do it innocently, honestly, without knowing that what they are doing is crime. So if you labored to have a content and then you put it out, used on your page, and somebody picked that content and use it without your consent, and this is an exclusive content, you have the right to report them. And you can simply go to that post. If you go to that post, I think if you take Facebook for... Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, yeah. So I think this depends on the platform. Each and every platform has its own way of reporting a particular content. I think Facebook uses its own. I'm not certain, but I think it uses it in the comment section or somewhere that you can click and then, report a particular post. So I think what you will do is look at that particular platform and see how exactly the issue of reporting a particular thing, especially when it relates copyright, is being done. And I strongly recommend you do that, because I know how difficult it is for us, to get our content, sit down, do your editing, polish it, and then push it out, only for somebody, on their sofa to pick up that content and then put it out without acknowledging the source, or even claim that that content is theirs. I strongly recommend you do that if somebody does that to you.
Thank you very much. And I think we found a very good point where we can call it a day. But before then, if you have final words for our listeners before we go.
Well, what I would say, Idris, is sorry, Dr. Idris.
Wallah, it's totally fine.
Sorry. Create content, honestly. Don't get tired. Create content, because like Nigerians would say, you get why. Because if you stick to the social media, it's a necessary evil, like I indicated in the beginning of the session. This is something you can sit down, in the comfort of your room and earn money. There are a lot of side hustles that you can do to earn a living without even working for anybody. So do not underestimate it, and don't just take Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or the other platforms as a platform where you just go there to socialize. No. If you are the type of individual that has a lot of followership, just sit down and think, why do I have a mobile phone, that I am using to access social media platforms and then, you know, put data and everything and then sit down and just be scrolling through the timeline, liking, commenting, or, you know, retweeting people's posts. That's not the way to go. Sit down and think, okay, I have like 10,000 followers, and these followers mostly are students. How about you thinking of, you know, creating some sort of tutorials? Or probably your followers are mostly businessmen and women. How about me, you know, doing some crash courses on how to expand your business, either online or offline? Think, sit down, think. If you think and find a way, you know, there are 1,000,001 ways that you can use to earn money on social media. So sit down, think, use it judiciously, and I promise you will get there.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Ahmed Salisu, how can AI help? Inshallah, we'll come to that, Nazir Shaibu. We'll talk about AI. We'll talk about so many things. And this is just one class or one session of so many sessions that we are going to have. So inshallah, we will keep on doing that, inshallah. And until then, once again, Ahmed Salisu, thank you so much for sparing your time to be with us and to educate us. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Doctor. Thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you so much and have a beautiful and restful night. Assalamu alaikum.